Hello, scholars. I'm here. We're going to be talking about satire. Of course, you can't talk about Huckleberry Finn without talking about satire. What I have here are 13, what I find, targets of his satire. Target, think of it as an archer. A writer is upset about a lot of things. He's pissed off. She's pissed off. She wants to poke fun at society and change society. So what a satirist does is find the target. So you take an arrow out of your quiver and fire it. Mark Twain hits the bullseye, and he hits the bullseye on all of these things, right? And if you think there's a 14th, 15th, 16th, there probably is, share it with me. I'll expound more on this in class, and of course, in class, you'll be finding textual examples for these different targets. But let's talk about these first. Romanticism, okay? You don't know what Romanticism is. We'll talk about it in class. He's in the age of realism, Mark Twain. That Romanticism died with the Civil War, right? The Romantic period, which we'll be talking about. And he can't stand the way the South romanticized Old England with its serfs and its castles and its lords and its ladies. And it was great if you're a lord, if you're a knight, Rhett Butler in Gone with the Wind, but it really, really is horrible if you're 95% of the others who are either poor white trash, who can't compete with free labor, or you're free labor and you're slaves. So Twain hates this idea, and he targets it and makes fun of it. And we'll be talking about what he means by the Sir Walter Scott, the great Scottish writer, romantic, that the South, has based their society on, critics have said. Religion, of course, they go into church, they put their guns outside, they go, they pray, they do their stuff. They're not Catholic, but anyway, they pray, they come out, they take their guns and shoot people, right? Thou shalt not kill, love thy neighbor as thyself. Religion here is a huge target, all right? They own people, right? No one got killed except, just one N-word. Really? You're Christians? These are Christians in name only, okay? And Mark Twain has a lot of fun poking fun at these morons, all right? The South. Mark Twain was part of the Confederate Army for about a week or two, maybe about a month. He was from Missouri, and that, of course, bleeding, the whole Missouri Compromise. It didn't work out for him. He soon left, went to California, where he struck it rich as a reporter, and for the great material, the gold rush. But the South is living in the past, and you cannot live in the past and move forward. And of course, we can talk about, does this still exist today with Confederate flags and Southern heritage and all that kind of stuff. So the South encompasses a lot of this. Conformity, people that just follow the norm. Huckleberry Finn conforms to Tom Sawyer's limited view of the world that he knows only through books. Tom Sawyer is limited in his book knowledge. Huck Finn, ironically, knows a lot more about life than Tom Sawyer, but because he deflects to the well-dressed, educated, AP student of Tom Sawyer, Huck Finn feels like, I can't compete, I'm going to conform. And there's conformity all throughout the novel. The crowd, the mob mentality, all that kind of stuff, which we'll get to in a little bit. Superstition, of course, with Jim, Huck. Everyone has these superstitions. Baseball players that grow their beard, and it's like no shave November. Your lucky pencil, Arthur, if you remember that. Yeah, come on. That's not logical. It doesn't make any sense, superstition, right? But people still, have these superstitions, but it's illogical. Twain's writing the age of realism, and where things had to make sense. Scientific sense. That makes no scientific sense whatsoever, right? Gullibility. Oh my God, think about how gullible people are. Snake oil salesmen, people that want to sell you something and they look good, they make you feel bad about yourself, they give you easy solutions to difficult problems. Politicians, used car salesmen, advertisers, people are gullible. People want to believe someone even though they might know they're just full of it, right? But so much gullibility, and just people are not that bright. They're bright, but they just want to trust in some person's mission, or, oh, he has to be right. Why would he be lying to me? Well, to get elected, to make a lot of money, and to scam you, to sleep with you. God knows why, all right? But Twain helps us stay vigilant in our logic so we don't fall prey to people who are going to prey on us. That's why this book is so important, and why satire is so important. Man's cruelty. Okay, you cannot turn a page of Huckleberry Finn. No, that's not true. There are some nice pages, especially with Huck on the river, and Jim and Huck talking bro to bro, father to son, son to father. But man, man's cruelty. The guns, so many guns, so much death. The Grangerfords, the Shepherdsons, they don't even know why they're killing each other, but they kill each other. And of course, do we still have a problem with guns and cruelty and violence in America? Oh my God, yes we do. That's why this book is still so relevant. All right, hypocrisy, mob mentality, hypocrites, people who say one thing, like read your Bible, do this, and that's why Huck says I don't take no stock in dead people. Why do I listen to Moses? Right? He's not around, right? Which kind of makes sense logically. It's like, okay, today's problems have today's problems. I don't know if Moses had the solution to today's problems right here. He might, I have no idea. But Twain would say, no, this has been a hypocrite. All right, you're teaching religion, but it's okay if one N-word dies. Or it's okay if you own people. Right? So, or it's okay if you shoot other people. Right? So hypocrisy, hypocrites. Mob mentality. People just want to follow the herd. Huck is the individual. He's breaking from tradition. He feels like he's going to go to hell. But he says, Jim's worth it, darn it. And I'm going to break away from that kind of mob mentality. Even though he gets sucked back in at the end of the book, which I have a criticism of the end of the book. Many critics do. I don't like the end of the book. I love the end chapter where he lights out to the west. But I don't like that he's gone through this whole process with Jim, has grown so much in leaps and bounds after all, it's a Bill Dunn's roman, and he falls back into these chapters, which are comical, but I think just go on too long. And I'm not sure Twain thought that out. So convenient to really, they're all the way in another state, all the way down the Mississippi, and they happen to run in to Tom Sawyer again. That's a little cray-cray, but the idea of mob mentality. Throughout the novel, you see people just following the herd. And we see this time and time and time again in our society. And of course in movies like Disney and Beauty and the Beast, kill the beast. Frankenstein, kill Frankenstein's monster. We don't like him. We don't even know, we're just following it, we're doing it. Okay. And it takes some sort of charismatic leader, like a Hitler, like a Napoleon, like a Genghis Khan, to kind of like rally the nation for destruction. Crazy stuff. You got to watch out for that. Family loyalty. All right, that sounds like a good thing if you're a mob family. But, being loyal to your family is great, but if they're doing very, really bad things, that's shenanigans. You got to call out that. All right, yeah, family loyalty is great. But, at the end of the day, do you really want to support a father, mother, or grandfather who is doing some fraudulent things or unethical things or immoral things, right? So again, the individual needs to be able to recognize insanity, call out the insanity, and stand up against it. Even though you might be persecuted or put to death like Jesus, like, John Lennon, Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, okay, yada, yada, yada. The list goes on and on and on. All right, racism. Oh, my goodness. All right. Fortunately, this is a problem that has been solved. I'm joking, of course. The racism is just so overtly apparent in this book. The N-word's used 206 times, and yes, it's uncomfortable. I don't want to say it. I don't like saying it. I don't listen to rap music that has that N-word. But it would be inauthentic if the N-word was not used. There is a publication that takes it out and says like slave but think about it. If you didn't use that word, it would not reveal the hostility and the inhumanity that these people had for their fellow human beings, right? It's like Holden Caulfield in Catcher in the Rye not saying the word phony all the time, or rap music not using the words of the street. You need to be authentic. You need to be able to say, okay, this was the time period, and I'm writing about the time period in order for it to be authentic. Let's not sanitize the past. Let's understand the past. Let's learn from the past so we can move forward as a society. Okay, can you imagine some of these rap songs being sanitized? Now, I know there are clean versions, but, the bowdlerization, and that was a guy who sanitized Shakespeare, because Shakespeare writes about some, sensational things and some bawdy things. Nothing worse than an edited version like that. Civilization, are these people really civilized? Is America really civilized? Does it take a 13-year-old uneducated kid like Huck to show us what really civilization is? And how many of us really do want to escape civilization? Because it makes us into creatures that are not human. So in order to be human, do we need to leave humanity? Thoreau would say probably yes, but he needed to return. If you're a wizard or a shaman or something, yeah, you might have to leave and, go into a monastery or a monk or a nun or something. Or you just need to take a mental break from society and say, I'm in society, but I need to leave it in order to evaluate it, judge it, and then learn from myself. All right. And then, of course, the aristocracy. We gave up the aristocracy in the American Revolution. And yet, for some reason, we still want to listen to the Duke and the Dolphin, right? We still want a king and a prince to listen to. We still want a president who sits on a golden throne. Wait a second. We gave up King George III. George Washington was not a king. People wanted to treat him as a king. Adams wanted to call him Your Excellency. And he's like, none of that's nonsense, Adams. So, but Americans, according to Twain, we want aristocracy. We want to listen to people that have titles and the landed gentry and, of course, this feudal system that allegedly we gave up in the Revolution, but the South was recreating in its image of how it wanted to be agrarian in the Jeffersonian ideal. So those are 13 targets. And we'll be talking more about this. You'll be finding specific concrete examples in the text. I hope you enjoyed this. Take care. Peace.